Today I'm going to share with you a huge secret on how to get your goals using releasing. Check this out. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, showing you that your happiness, all the joy and love that you're looking for in life is inside of you right now, as well as the power to have, do, and be whatever you wish in life. But I bet you already knew that, right? But knowing's half the battle. You see, it's one thing to understand these high concepts, inner truth, beingness, but it's another thing to demonstrate it in the real world, to prove it out in your life. So this is why I want to focus on this and use this to kick off a brand new video series I'm calling The Secrets to Successful Releasing, to highlight key topics for us to focus on that will provide us the fastest growth and produce the greatest gains. And this particular topic here is one that I've been mulling over for a couple of months now. Ever since I did a big workshop, an open demonstration of the method to a big group of people in Bucharest. And it was a lovely afternoon. I showed what the method was about, how the mind worked, how the mind's a creative instrument, and what's in the way of creating what we want, namely the desire, and showing how you can let that go and turn the situation around. It was a wonderful, powerful afternoon. And afterwards, lots of people came up and they thanked me. Now, a couple people came up and they said, "Wow, thank you. This really validates and proves what I've been reading about and, what I've been kind of looking at. And so you just validated what I already know. Thank you." And I thought that was, okay, that's cool. It's good to get feedback, to know that what I'm communicating is going across to others, and also that it's in alignment with other teachings. It's good to know. But at the same time, I'm kind of puzzled because as I was going through the demonstration, I was saying, well, there's a path now that we must follow. It's not just knowing it. You got to do something about it. And here they are saying, okay, I got the knowledge. And then they just kind of walked off with that. And it's like, oh, you're missing a huge opportunity here. And as I've been looking at this, I've seen this tendency to gather information, to go to different workshops, different methods, kind of combine all this knowledge together to a greater understanding. The problem is that the understanding is all up here. It's not practical knowledge. It's really not something that people are actually using to get results. And so they keep on looking. They go to this workshop, they go read this book, and they fill up a whole library of workbooks and courses and other materials, and they just sit there. They don't use them. It's like a bunch of trophies sitting on the shelf. And this way of doing things goes hand in hand to a problem that I often hear where people say, yeah, I tried the method, it just doesn't work for me. But they're not using the method. You see, if you take this approach, using this method, it's a guarantee that you're going to fail at it. Because, look, this method, it's very, very simple. Almost stupidly simple. And so it's very easy for the mind to grasp on and say, oh yeah, okay, I get what that's about. I understand it. And then leave it at that. And it's just like if you buy some workout equipment to exercise and build up your muscles, but you set it off in a corner, you don't use the equipment, but of course like how it works. You know that, okay, if I take that weight and I do this, my muscle's going to grow. But you don't do that, your muscles aren't going to grow. You got to use the equipment if you want to get results from it. And, it isn't just in, this type of self-help inner work sort of thing. The exact same thing, shows up when we get exercise equipment. We get it with full intention of using it. I'm going to be really buff, but then we just don't use it. And it's the same with this. And it's also the same process that I saw happen when I went through business coaching. I was in a group of people that were looking to be entrepreneurs, start their business, but they were in this kind of mode of, okay, well, I need to take another course, and I need to learn marketing, and I need to learn this, and I need this other coaching advice. And just the same way, they're like in this information gathering mode. And in that setting, we would call it analysis paralysis, where you're just kind of, gathering without taking a leap. And I think, when we look at these behaviors in ours, we can see that we're holding back. We're afraid to either take a leap to do it. Maybe we're afraid that, if we really give it our all and it didn't work out, then where would we have to go? So we kind of hold back to avoid any sort of disappointment. Or we hold back because we have resistance. Maybe we think, if I really get my feet into it, then it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of effort, and I want to find an easier way. And that also shows us that, we're looking for an easy fix. Especially in this spiritual, self-help sort of realm. Our laziness gets the better of us. We look at something that says, okay, well, this can get you to the destination, but it's going to take work, it's going to take time. And we're like, screw that. I want a faster, easier way to do it. I want someone to just come and tap me on the head. And we're just, whether we're conscious of it or not, we are thinking that, well, if I just get enough understanding, if I assimilate enough data, a light bulb is going to pop off. I'm going to know what to do, and then I'll be able to do it without any effort, without any time. But really what we end up doing is not even moving past the starting line. We never even get started. We just sit there, collect a bunch of information, and at the end of the day, what good does that information do us if we don't use it? So let me ask you this. What's stopping you from moving forward to realizing the truth that you've been reading about, that you've been practicing, whether it's from the work that we do here to the work of Eckhart Tolle or anybody else? Maybe you feel like you need more information. If so, take a look at what you know already. And all that information is in your mind, right? And if it's in your mind, it's knowledge, but it's not practical knowledge. It's kind of like, understanding how to ride a bike. You see somebody riding it, okay, it looks easy. You just hold on to the handlebars, you spin the pedals, and you go. But, you can watch somebody ride a bike. You can read about riding a bike. But if you get on a bike, it's a whole different story. You got to take some time to learn it. And you fall down, you pick yourself up, you fall down on the other way, you pick yourself up, and maybe you run into a tree. So what? Okay, I'm determined. I'm going to ride this bike. So you stick with it, you see it all the way through, and then one day, you do it. You find your balance. You're like, oh, this is it. This is the experience. And guess what? From that moment forward, you're riding the bike. You're on it, and you can do it. And it's not the mental knowledge necessarily. The mental knowledge can point you in the right direction, but it's getting your feet in it, really getting the experience of it, where you prove it out and you actually master riding a bike. The same with mastering your inner self. So, if you're stuck trying to figure out or looking for more knowledge, the answer, so you really know what to do. Well, look at what you're doing. You're asking your mind for that answer, and you're trying to fill it in your mind. But your mind's never going to get you the answer, no matter how much knowledge it has, because chances are you got plenty of knowledge in you right now about the top state, about your true inner nature. But if you ask your mind, well, how do I do it? How do I live in the now all the time? How do I have no limitation? Your mind really doesn't have a clue. It's got stories. It's got, other people's words and experiences. But you gotta experience it yourself. And your mind can't give you that experience. So asking your mind and trying to gather more information in your mind, it's a waste of time. Isn't that obvious? So that being the case, you just set your mind aside. And right now, just decide to let go of wanting to figure it out, wanting to know. Because your mind doesn't have the answer. And guess what? It never will. So could you just let that go? And let go of wanting to know. Now, take a look to see if you've been disapproving of yourself. And maybe you've been beating yourself up because of, after all the stuff that you've been reading and learning, you still can't do it. And you're still searching. And maybe you feel restless. You feel like, when am I ever going to get there? Right? Maybe you've been feeling down on yourself. Now, how does it help you to beat yourself up over that? It doesn't, does it? And who's doing that? Who's beating yourself up? You are, right? So if you're doing it, and it's not getting you a solution, not getting you the answers you're looking for, now's the time to make a decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. What do you decide? Well, I'm assuming that you're deciding to be positive. And with that in mind now, can you let go of disapproving of yourself? Since it's your choice, you're doing it. And if you're doing it, you can let it go. It's a decision, yes or no. Could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And notice how you feel doing this, making the simple decision to let go of beating yourself up. Does it feel lighter? If so, this is showing you that you're moving in the right direction. Just notice that lighter feeling. That's all we're looking for here. All right, now, since positive doesn't hurt anything, and since it's your choice, could you give yourself some love and approval right now? For no reason, just because. And could you give yourself some more love and approval? And some more. And could you choose to love yourself even more right now, just because you can? And more. And could you love yourself even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel now. Now, take a look at your goal. Because obviously, since you're coming here, you're coming to this channel, and perhaps you've learned this method, you've been practicing, you've come to a class, you have a goal in mind. You're wanting to get somewhere. You're wanting to open up your inner greatness. Now let me just ask you, how important is this to you for you to achieve it? Now I'm not talking about like your desire for it necessarily, but your determination. You see, if you have an exercise set, you get something so you can work out and you have a goal to, have a healthy and toned body, and you're determined you are going to use it. So here's what I want to get at here. There isn't like a magical touch that's going to put you on track. What's the answer? To be motivated, to jump in, to get off the sidelines, to get started and stay with it, see it all the way through to achieve your goal? That's up to you. I can't do it for you. No book is going to do it for you. No master is going to do it for you. That's up to you. It really is. And if you are determined and motivated, then you're going to look for what's holding you back. And you're not going to take an excuse. You're going to do whatever it takes. Now, if you look at it, whatever it is that's holding you back, you can kind of simplify it into one of two things. Either fear of jumping in, or resistance, resisting jumping in. So take a look. What's in the way? Is it fear or is it resistance? Now, whichever one that you see. Now, it's your decision. Are you going to let that fear or resistance stop you and keep you playing small? Or are you going to get bigger than it? Now, how do you get bigger than it? It's easy. It's seriously easy. Now, take that fear or resistance and just measure it on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being the most fearful or the most resistant, and 0 being the least. Just measure yourself, see where you're at. Now, wherever that's at, if you're at a 3 or an 8 or a 10, you can get bigger than it. Now, you don't get bigger than it by fighting with it, which is what we tend to do when we're being unconscious. When we feel that fear or that resistance, or we think about that awful story, that excuse that comes to mind, like, if I get into it, then it's going to be a lot of effort, it's going to take a lot of time, it's going to be uncomfortable. And we feel that resistance, that hesitation. And it's not a good feeling. We don't like it. And we fight with it. Basically, we say no to that feeling. Now see if you've been saying no to that fear or resistance. And when you say no to it, does that make the fear or resistance go away? No. It just stores it, holds on to it, and even makes it grow, right? Especially the resistance and frustration and right? So since saying no doesn't work, instead now, could you just say yes to it? Just say yes to that fear resistance. And say yes to it even more. And say yes to it even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And say yes to it even more. and even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And now measure yourself again. Notice if you dropped. Like if you were at an 8, now you're at a 6, or maybe you're at a 2. Just notice a difference. See if that moved. And notice if you feel a little bit lighter. Again, that lighter feeling is showing you're moving in the right direction. And now, let go of pushing down on the rest of that fear or resistance. Because notice, it's just a feeling holding you back. You see, you don't have any physical barriers. You really don't. That are holding you back from stepping in and taking action to follow through on your goal, on your commitment. The only thing that's holding you back is a feeling, right? So let go of pushing down on the rest of that. Fear, resistance, just a feeling. Now allow it to arise. Welcome it up. Just a feeling. It's just like energy coming up. Allow it to come up and open up. You can open up like an imaginary door, window right in front of you. And just imagine or let this energy just go right on out the door. And allow it to leave even more. And even more. And even more. And you feel it moving through? You just feel it leaving? And it feels nice, right? So welcome up some more. Let go of holding down some more of that fear and resistance. See, that's what we do, like 24/7, our whole life. We're holding down our feelings. And that's why we just end up getting heavier and heavier, stuck in our problematic thinking, and stuck in our ego. So just invite up all the rest of that fear or resistance. Open up. Get out of the way. Just let it pass through. Let it leave now. And just let it leave even more. And 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 even more. Now notice how you feel now. Lighter? Nicer? All right, so taking a look at what you need to do to just jump in and stay on track to achieve your goal. Like I said, there's no magic touch. I can't, give you some secret formula. That's up to you. That's your determination. Now, if you look at it, how most of the time we are really motivated, we're mostly motivated when we're suffering, when things get really bad or we're left with no option. Then we come back and we pull out these tools of release and it's like, oh, nothing else is working. I got nowhere to go. I might as well now just start releasing. But why wait until things get really bad for you to be motivated to do something about it, to finally achieve your goal rather than just putting along, just, going by? What if you could have the courage to stay focused and stay determined? And what does it take to have that courage? Well, it's just a decision. Now just close your eyes for a moment and think about a time in your life when you really felt courageous, when you felt that determination. Maybe you had a goal and your attitude is, nothing is stopping me. Even if I don't have an answer, I don't know how I'm going to do it, nothing's going to stop me from having this goal. I'm going to find that answer, whatever it takes. Now, you know what that's like. You've been in this place where you just felt courageous, determined. Nothing's going to stop you. And it's a very different energy. Now, moving up into this energy, up into courageousness, is a decision. Just like if you get into a car. Now, if you get into a car and you have no intention about where you're going to go, you would just sit there, right? But if you have an intention, I'm going to the mall, and you're determined to get there, you put the key in the ignition, you turn on the car, you put it in gear, and you step on the gas and you go. And that's the same way on how you get up into courageousness. You just make a decision now. Now, what you can do is put your body in a position of being courageous. Right now, just sit like you'd sit if you felt totally confident, courageous, determined. How would you sit? How would you hold your head? How would you hold your shoulders? Would they be tense or would they be loose? How would you breathe? Breathe that way now. And sit that way now. Just sit like you're totally courageous and confident, determined, open, purposeful. You feel that? And this shows you that you are in control. You're in control of your feelings, and you're in control of getting bigger than your feelings. There's not one moment that you're not in control. So feel that feeling of courageousness. Welcome it in. And feel that motivation. And just let go. Allow this feeling to expand. Allow it to just flow up and spill all over you right now. And if your mind is coming up with excuses, or what about this, or I don't have time, or it's so much effort, or it doesn't work. Now, notice, your mind is not your friend. And your mind is not interested in you getting positive and getting powerful. It really isn't. You know why? Because if you really stepped into your power, you wouldn't listen to your mind anymore. And would have to go away. But it loves being in control. And notice, all that it gives you is a bunch of drama, a bunch of negativity. And that's how it manipulates you. It gets you all stirred up and afraid and resisting this and confused about that and trying to figure this out. And your mind loves it because when it's got you acting like that, it's got you on a leash. But you can get bigger than that mind. Now get courageous. And you make a decision. I'm doing it. I'm not going to let anything stop me. How does that feel? So practice this. Keep practicing moving up into courageousness. The more you do this, you'll find it gets easier and easier. And keep looking for that fear or resistance that's holding you back. You know what to do with it now. Just say yes to it. And it dissolves away. And then there's nothing holding you back. And look at your commitment to getting your goal. Now, my best advice, if you're really serious about getting your goal, is to get a coach. Just like I mentioned before, I've got a business coach. And like someone who's really determined to use like workout equipment to get a result. If they're really serious about it and they want the fastest, easiest way to do it, they get a coach, they get a workout instructor that sees how they're doing and moves them in the right direction. And right now also I've got a dancing coach. You see, I could go and watch videos about dancing on YouTube and practice and yeah, sure, that's fine. But I found it so valuable to have somebody look at like how I'm doing and say, oh, wait, here's what you're doing wrong and adjust it. You know, whether it's dancing or yoga or Tai Chi, If you get someone who's an expert that can show you, that's a huge benefit. And they can keep you on track and keep you motivated. And that's why we do these classes. So I'll put a link down below so you can see what classes are coming up, jump in, get the practice, and practice makes perfect. This is how you become an expert and how you get results. All right? So again, let me know how this works out for you. Drop me a comment below, and I'll see you on the next video.